Hi, welcome back to the course. In this video, we're going to see how to document the REST APIs inside the Spring Boot using the Swagger. So it's always a good practice to document the REST APIs so that whoever consuming the REST APIs, he can easily view what is the endpoint and what is the JSON payload that we need to send inside the request body, and what will be the response that we are going to get, and what will be the status code that we are going to receive when we make the request, and all these informations we can see in one place. So it's always a good practice to expose the documentation using the Swagger. There are so many tools available to document the REST APIs, and Swagger is one of them. Instead of exposing or instead of documenting inside the document, the Word document, or in the Excel sheet, we can easily use the Swagger API to document the REST APIs in Spring Boot. So let's see how we can use Swagger in our Spring Boot application. So far we have been working with the employee management application, and right now we have a controller, employee controller, and we have exposed the two endpoints, which is /employees, which will store the employee records. Also we have a /employees, which will retrieve the list of employees. Okay, you can also add other handler methods as well to perform the CRUD operations as well. So I'm going to keep it simple. So we have two handler methods for creating the records and retrieving the records. So in order to use the Swagger, we're going to add a few dependencies to our pom.xml. Let's open the pom.xml. So inside this pom.xml, we are going to add the two dependencies. So let me quickly copy the dependency and paste it. So the group ID, which is nothing but io.springfox, and artifact ID, which is springfox minus swagger 2, and we're going to add the version as well, which is 2.9.2. and let me copy this again. We're going to add the one more dependency, so which will also be the group ID, which is also be io.springfox, the artifact ID, which is springfox minus swagger minus UI. So for the, it will provide the user interface to see all the REST endpoints and the documentation, and the version we're going to keep it the same. So make sure to use the same versions for both of the dependencies. If you use a different versions, then it will not work. So with this, let's save the changes, and it will download the required jars from the Maven repository. And the next thing, we need to use an annotation to enable the Swagger. So let's open the main class. Let me go to the project explorer, and inside the base package we have the Spring REST API application. So just below the @Spring Boot application, we are going to use the annotation, which is enable swagger 2, and let's save this. That's it. We don't need to do any extra configurations to document the REST APIs. It will automatically, the Spring Boot will automatically takes care of everything. The Swagger will automatically expose the documentation for us. Now let's go to the browser. Let's go to the URL, which is localhost:8080/swagger-ui.html. Hit enter, and let's go back to the browser. We should get, okay, we are getting some errors. That is fine. Let's stop the server. Let's restart it again. Let me expand the console. Alright, so now let's go to the browser this is not localhost 8080. I think this is localhost 8080/API/v1/swagger-ui.html. As you can see, the Swagger UI, this is the HTML page that is exposed by the Swagger. So the Swagger UI automatically display all the controllers. So this basic error controller, which is the default controller, not the default controller, it is provided by the Swagger, but the one controller which we have created is the employee controller. So if you expand this, you can see we have two APIs, which is /employees, which is a get mapping, /employees, which is the post mapping, and also we have the model classes, which is the employee model class. Okay, so don't worry about this model view and view. Okay, just if you expand this employee, you can see we have three fields: ID, location, and name. Similarly, if you expand these endpoints, you can see more informations. Okay, so the parameters, the response codes, and the response that we are going to get back when we make a request, and all these options. Even we can try out these endpoints on the go. So for example, this get mapping /employees, if you click on this tryout, and you will see that the execute option, when I click on this execute, and you can see internally it uses curl to make the HTTP request. If you scroll down, you can see the response that we are going to get back from the database or from the server. So we have 4 records, the ID 1, 2, 3, and 4. Similarly, you can try out this /employees post mapping as well. If you expand this, and you can see the response that we're going to get back from the server. And if you click on this, try it out, and you can see, let me get rid of this ID, we don't need to pass ID, and the location, which will be string, and this will be the location, let's say it's India, and the name, which is Shankar. And when I click on this execute, and if you scroll down, you can see the curl request. If you scroll down, you can see the response, which is ID 5, the name Shankar, location India. And you can also see the response code, which is 200 OK. So this is all about the Swagger, and this is how you can document your REST APIs in Spring Boot using the Swagger. Again, Swagger is not only the tool to document the REST APIs, there are so many tools available that you can use, and Swagger is one of the most popular, and I will be using this Swagger from the beginning. Alright, in the next video, we are going to see how to document the REST APIs using the Swagger Open API 3. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video.